the stories so real, lifting spirits high. In the rhythm of healing, let our words fly. Mind and body reunited, let's take a step. Cannabis dreams and the light of the sun. We're turning the tide, we're all becoming one. With every new story, our hearts start to mend. In this podcast of life, there's hope round the bend.
I'm so pleased with myself. All right. Hello, world. That's loud. This is Ryan, aka Krause's Corner, aka the Healing Chefs. This is the Healing Chefs podcast. Healing Chefs podcast is all about mental health, really, but hinted with a couple natural remedies, we'll say. But Healing Chefs, chef comes from chief meaning leader. Everyone that I have on here, I believe, is a leader in their own way. Today's chef is Ann Allchin. Welcome.
Thank you.
Heck yeah. We just connected on Instagram recently, but thank you very much for coming. It's been a little hectic this morning trying to get on here, but you've been very pleasant, so thank you very much.
Oh, no worries.
Before we jump into any of the segments, I would like to first, if you could introduce yourself and tell people what is it that you do and stuff like that, and then we'll go into your personal journey.
Sure. So I've written 2 edibles cookbooks, which was a journey in itself. Maybe I don't know if I'll talk about the backstory a little bit more later, but the books are Butter and Flour and Stoned. And Butter and Flour is a traditional cookbook that is, it has the look and feel of anything that you might use to make sweets. It's a lot of sweet recipes, things like that, by the piece, so that dosing is easier. It has a lot of instructions for newbies, that kind of thing. And then Stoned is just coming out, so we're just working out distribution. But Stoned is a coffee table book that's more of an art-based book. So this one, we had a still life photographer who contributed his take to the recipes. So I think this one is a festive cookie. I opened it just coincidentally there.
Way to
that's
go.
Made with pine flavoring. And so it's a gorgeous cookbook that you can appreciate the art for, but it's also the story of persecution of cannabis users through time, through the last 100 years. So it goes through the history of cannabis, mostly in the US, some in Canada as well. I'm Canadian. And it also has recipes in it as well, because my passion is really baking, and that's sort of the route of weed that I like to follow and share, because I think edibles are best for sharing.
Well, I know I'm a chef, but I could always learn how to bake better. I can cook like a fiend, and I can make some baked goods, but I'm going to definitely pick up those books and stuff and put them, because I have a couple cookbooks that I have sitting on my coffee table right now. But definitely that Stoned one looks pretty. Thank you for that. So we'll go ahead and jump into our first segment, which is Cannabis Journey.
Sure.
All right, so Cannabis Journey is all about how you found cannabis yourself, and then how you've made it to being the awesome infuser that you are. Infuser? Is that a word?
Sure. I'll take it. So I was sort of a late adopter. I gave into the hype a little bit that drugs are bad. And when I was in high school, there was, a little crew of experimental people, and I wasn't really in that crew. So it wasn't really until I went to university And my friend is from Vancouver. So in Canada, BC has always been the mecca for weed. The climate serves, the soil serves, and during the Vietnam War, a lot of hippies came north and settled when they were draft dodging. So then they started the cannabis community, especially in BC, because it was very close to California. And so my friend is from BC, and I was in university and said, okay, look, now is the time. I need to try it. So she went and got lined paper and masking tape. She said, I have no papers. And so lined paper, masking tape. I was like, okay, I don't think I'm getting anything. I don't think I'm getting anything.
Smoking masking tape?
Yes.
Oh.
So, it didn't work out
I've done
too
some
well.
weird stuff. I've done weirder stuff in my life. Don't you worry. That's new. Okay.
So yeah, it didn't work out too well. But then after a few more experimental times, then I was just like everybody else. But I'm susceptible to paranoia. So I was always a solo smoker. So I would use it for Sunday night blues. If I was really overwhelmed, getting out of school, going on to work, if I was really overwhelmed with the week and what was looking ahead, then I'd be in my apartment quietly, like smoking to fall asleep and to take my mind out of spinning in the day-to-day. And it worked really well for that. I didn't smoke socially that much, and I used to be a little bit embarrassed about that. Like, how can I be a cannabis user and I'm not really, like if a joint goes around at a party, I'll just kind of go, because I can get lost in paranoia. But I ended up addressing that. So now I'm past that. But getting into edibles, I'll just jump forward to that. My father-in-law's partner has really terrible migraines. So she was a grade 1 teacher, school teacherish, still is, very sweet, would never smoke anything in her life. So she wasn't with us one time, and we asked my father-in-law, who at the time was probably 75, would she be open to it? And he said, I think she tried just about anything. She's been on every prescription drug going. So I went away and researched and learned how to make butter, learned how to make coconut oil, because now she's really not into milk products. She avoids lactose and whatever, again, to try to help her health.
For sure.
I dropped off my first batch of cookies, which were chocolate chip cookies, crossed my fingers, and then said, okay, well, phone me because I want to know that everything went okay for you, that you didn't have a bad time. And the next day she didn't phone. And so I was like, oh my God, like,
oh, no.
What happened? Was my dosing right? Was I, what happened? And so I was able to reach her later in the day. And she said, oh yes, everything's great. I had the best night's sleep. It took away my nausea. I did go to the basement and I forgot what I was there for a couple times. But that was really the start of it. And then because I loved baking and I started sharing with friends, I would be the one who would bring cookies to a party, and then people would take me aside and go, hey, Aunt, like, how strong are these? And at the time it was before legalization. So it was really a way to share, a way to help people. A lot of people around me started using it for sleep. And I just knew that there are a lot of people who didn't really, and still don't, understand the process of infusion and the binding to fats and
I know.
And making edibles fun and delicious. And so I got really passionate about it and started writing. So,
well, awesome. The world thanks you for that. And I want to tap into that. Yeah, I deal with that paranoia too, like smoking with people. As much as I have my life kind of built around cannabis, I'm under also now again. I have a hard time smoking with a lot of people. I have a hard time trusting.
Yes,
I'm a veteran, so I'm always calculating. But I can relate with that quite well.
And then I've gotten over a lot of that because I realized, well, one thing is that I realized that weed users and lovers don't really care about how you consume. I went to Camp Canna, which is a summer camp for adults this summer for 2 nights.
Dope.
Yeah, it was really good at a
I remember
traditional
camp when I
kids
was
summer
in 5th
camp.
grade.
They have a full waterfront with big blow up toys where you can jump off of them. We did
sick.
archery and all kinds of stuff. I highly recommend
What
it.
am I doing with my life?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
But that's what I realized there is that, like some people are dabbing and other people are sneaking edible and other people are having drinks and other people are smoking and no one cares. Just be yourself and enjoy and consume how you want to consume, and nobody's judging you really. Like, know your own body, do a little experimenting, and then it'll work best for you and your mental and physical health.
Heck yeah. I love that. I'm getting better with the smoking with people and stuff like that, and just being with people in public for the most part. But yeah, I also relate with the people not really understanding edibles. Because as a bud tender, I had a lady that came in. We're in Arizona. She came in from Alabama. Sorry, my Alabama team didn't make the playoffs. But she came in and she was getting edibles and stuff. And I kind of like quickly, she pointed out like basically RSO. And she's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Well, that's activated full spectrum cannabis." Explained the Rick Simpson story. And I said, basically, you can like heat up some butter for really like a real quick edible kind of a thing. You can heat up some butter, squeeze this into there, whip it together, and now you have medicated butter. And you can kind of use that. But I got her something that had some dosages, so she didn't. Because from there, there's just so much math you have to do. I wasn't trying to put her into that situation, but thank goodness we have people like yourself that create cookbooks and stuff with all these measurements and stuff, because it's well needed, and it knocks out that the fear mongering and all that kind of stuff, because again we're all afraid and hate what we don't understand. So awesome.
Totally. And I think a lot of people have had a bad experience with edibles because, as you know, you can go forward, you can't go back. So dosing is important. So that's the other reason that I wanted to write cookbooks, to help people with that, because I know that math can freak people out. So I did that for you so that you work out, if you're buying this percent THC in flour and you use this many tablespoons, then you're going to get this much per piece, so that you kind of know what you're dealing with. Because I think that's been a great thing about dispensaries too, is that a lot of that's managed. You don't have to fly by the seat of your pants like you used to.
Yeah, no, that is dope. Now for yourself, do you like mainly edibles and stuff, or do you smoke flower now, or?
I do. So before bed, I like edibles.
Okay.
Because it'll put me out and it's consistent and give me a really good night's sleep. I'm not getting any younger, so that helps. But during the day, or if I'm going out with friends, then I'll tend to smoke. And getting over the anxiety, I find that limonene if I find a strain with limonene, helps with the group dynamic and the paranoia and everything else. It's become really important. So it was one particular strain where I went, oh my God, this is what most people must feel like. And then they stopped producing that strain, and I was what am I gonna do? And
what strain?
Yeah, it was Apple Banana Jealousy by Truro.
Okay.
And I loved it. But then but I find now, if I choose something that has kind of like a citrusy name to it, then it's going to be good for me, because probably the limonene's in there.
Yeah, I agree, because once you said that, I immediately thought of the strain Lemon Tree, and Lemon Tree's in a lot of different strains that I really like, because it's very uplifting. And you're right. Yeah, that's a very good social one. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We'll go ahead and jump into the next segment, which is Trip Tales.
Sure.
Okay, so Trip Tales is all about psychedelic experiences, news, all that kind of stuff. I use psychedelics quite often, especially me being a veteran with PTSD.
Mm,
There's quite a few things that um, uh, I use therapeutically.
mhm.
Do you have any experience of yourself with psychedelics or anything that you've heard that's interesting to you? And as we all know, eating edibles, um,
Mhm.
high dose edibles, is riding the same rails as any like psychedelics. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, do you have any experiences or anything you'd like to share?
totally. I guess, well, one that pops in is I was in Amsterdam with a friend of mine.
Yay! I love Amsterdam. I've been.
Yeah. And now I told this story to to a shroom guy recently, and he said there are no roots in mushrooms, but what they told us in Amsterdam was that shrooms were illegal, but they get around it by selling the roots, and they do it in a bag of peanuts, and it tastes disgusting. It tastes like dirt almost. But we were there, we landed really early and just went out exploring, and we saw ads a couple times for, like, I forget what they were even called, like these mushroom roots. This was just before COVID. It was our last trip before COVID.
Okay, so yeah, so they had already made the energy shops illegal, so they couldn't have strict shrooms.
Yeah,
So okay, I'm following.
yeah. So we were there. It was early in the morning. We passed the first place and said, "No, no, no, we can't. We can't. It's the morning, but there's a time change, and maybe we could. No, 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 we can't." So then we passed it by. Then we went to the second place and went, well, when in Amsterdam,
Yeah,
we might as well. So we
right.
got these shrooms, just threw the whole bag back. We each got a bag and we asked about the dosing, and they said it was fine. And we just decided that we needed to walk. There was no, it
I
hit
know.
our stomachs. We needed air. Every time
Yeah.
that we went in, like indoors, it messed with us. We were like, abort, abort. We got to get out. We got to get out. So we walked around Amsterdam the entire day trying to shop, and then we would exit. But then I would have little bouts of just calm and serenity. But then this wave would come back that was not
Yeah, yeah.
not great. So we were laughing because we'd walk and we'd see the train station. We were like, haven't we already passed the train station? Yeah, I think we've passed the train station 3 times. And so that was our big experience with sort of a trip. But now I have a shroom guy who's a chef. He grows his own and then he mixes them with chocolate. It's perfectly dosed.
Can you continue? My
Yeah,
bad.
no worries. So, yeah, one little square will just put me in the best mood. I'll know that it's hitting if I pull out my camera, because always it's like, this is the best picture I've ever taken in my life. The light is perfect. The colors are perfect.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So it's
tracers.
really become, yeah, and it's really trustworthy dosing.
Oh, nice.
So, I've, like everything, you experiment and you learn, and I actually, with shrooms too, it's not legal here yet, but I think it's
Hmm.
probably not far behind. We have shroom dispensaries that are operating illegally, just like weed dispensaries used to back
Really?
before legalization. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think tides are shifting. Definitely,
For
I
sure.
hope that it's available to veterans, because I have a friend from high school who messaged me when he learned that I was writing books, and he said, "And like, really, mushrooms saved my life.
Yeah,
I had heavy depression. I can't always handle my weed, but mushrooms have really turned things around."
that's different.
Yeah, and my day job is actually as a medical writer for, I read drug research papers and look for mistakes. Um, so I know that the testing may not be there just yet, the formal testing, so that everyone's getting approval. But I know that they're seeing promising results of having really impactful changes in people's lives who are struggling with depression and anxiety and mental health. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Me being
yeah,
a veteran, I stay on top of watching all the different stuff coming out, and they just put out the VA approved 1.5 million to a study for veterans with PTSD. So,
nice.
and this is how I've seen it. As soon as the government okays it to fix the veterans and stuff, then they like push it out to everybody else.
Yeah.
So that I think that'll be the next thing, definitely with the shrooms and all the psychedelics and stuff. But also like ketamine therapy and stuff is popping up a
Mhm.
lot of places. I do ketamine therapy. It's what really saved my life. Like shrooms and
Oh,
stuff
amazing.
do a lot,
Mhm.
and they've helped. But it's the ketamine that actually got me to remove myself, and be more objective than subjective.
Yeah.
Instead, putting my stuff into it. But yeah, I'm excited for that study, and hopefully we get it going. And yeah, shrooms are the next thing. They're natural, and they help out a lot of different things. But awesome. Thank you very much for sharing. Did you have anything else for Trip Tales?
No, I think that's pretty good. I do have
Those are great
anxious
because
stories
I
with,
mean,
yeah.
other than that, when being in Amsterdam, you remember the Ferris wheel? You
Yeah.
remember the Ferris wheel? Okay, so when I went and we were shrooming for like 24 hours, one of we're just walking around. I'm just like, and at that time, this is about 2004, so those shops were still legal and open. So I was eating all sorts of shrooms. They're like, this one makes you feel like LSD. This one makes you feel like ecstasy. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I'm just eating all of them. And then we walk by the Ferris wheel and pigeons everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Um, and one of the guys is like, the guy that not on shrooms is like, why don't you run through that? And like I said before, I was like, no. And then he did it to us, and then it was just like when you play solitaire on the computer and you win or whatever. It was just like throughout my whole vision, and I just couldn't move. I was just like standing still for a minute, just like we're just glitching out. So yeah, Shroomin' in Amsterdam. Try it, folks. Awesome. So we'll go ahead and jump into the next segment, which is mental health is wealth.
Sure.
Awesome. And everything will be just. All right. Awesome. So, mental health is wealth. Obviously, all about mental health. Really, I'd like to talk to people about different and help them maybe with some coping mechanisms. Because when I was going through my stuff a couple of years ago, reason I started this podcast, I didn't really have anybody that looked like me talk about these things or really have any coping mechanisms, if any.
Mhm.
And nowadays, one of the biggest things I do is like if I ever get real stressed out, I do math. Well, whether it be like, finances or something else in my life, I know I can sit down and figure that problem out. And then from there, I'm like, okay, we got that. And then it's just like checklist time. And that's
Oh,
just like
wow.
dopamine, 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 dopamine. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what I do. You have anything that you do? Maybe you can share with people.
Ooh. Well,
Oh,
I don't want to turn to drugs again. I'm not,
okay, drugs,
but I
but I
will
like them.
say that beta blockers have made a huge difference because I'll get nervous speaking or doing something like this or being interviewed or talking to a group or that kind of thing. It's funny because I told my mom about it, and my mom, again, like, I get it from somewhere, and it's partly
Mm,
from my mom. And she said, there is a drug that will make your hands stop shaking and your and your lips stop shivering. And she said that would have changed my whole professional life. And
Oh,
so
wow.
that helps a lot. But the traditional things, I've been in therapy for a lot of years. I make sure you
Mhm.
have someone to talk to,
Oh, yeah.
lean on your friends, look for safe spaces, look for the joy. I think, like,
Mhm.
highlight when you find joy. This is really funny, but I heard someone say that when you are really appreciating a moment, you're supposed to put your finger up and go delight. so
Okay. Well, I'm
so you
not
don't
doing
have to
that, but
actually do it.
I'm not, I'm not saying,
But if you actually sit back and celebrate when you're feeling good and what it is that you're doing and what it is that brought you there and who you're with, and trying to build more of that into your life, then I think that that's a great thing to do too.
yeah, you excited me. I made me snap for some reason because that happens. That happens to me a lot. I'll just sit back nowadays. Like I was going through quite a few months of like really bad like stress and all sorts of stuff with bills and
Hmm.
everything, and I'm doing well now. Not we're all suffering, but we're doing better.
Hmm.
But I've just been sitting back recently, going, you know what? I'm fucking happy. Like this is I like I've like I don't have everything that I could possibly want, but who does? But I have a lot. And then I started working on my gratitude, and as much as
Oh,
this
great.
uh, um, uh, is rhymes, my gratitude changed my attitude,
Yeah.
and just feels a lot better. I walk around a lot lighter.
Yeah.
Um, but definitely therapy is key.
Hmm.
Beta blockers, I don't really. I don't know anything about that. What is that?
It's it's helped me with anxiety. Like, I am much more of a small group person.
Okay. Yeah.
And so sometimes if you get nervous and people look at you and are seeing the signs of the nerves, like shaky hands and
Right.
whatever, it's like a snowball, and it gets
Mhm.
worse because you're like, oh my God, my hands are shaking, everybody can see it, and then it just gets worse and worse. So it just
Yeah.
takes
Yeah.
away some of the physical signs, like the upset stomach, the shaky hands, the and so I think, like, even Chelsea Handler said that she uses it because she'll do stand up, and she was finding that her knees were knocking. And so that kind of works against what
Yeah.
she was trying to do. So it's prescription. If that's something that you struggle with, I it's really helped me because I can put myself out there better and talk to people and achieve what I'm trying to achieve without, my body getting in the way of it, I guess.
Sounds like a healthier way than what I do. I think I just disassociate.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
sit, I've
yeah.
gotten re- really good at it. I do it well. I don't know, my grammar right there, but I've learned how to do that, disassociate, especially back when I was a car salesman. And I'm like, I'm talking about this. I don't even want to be here right now. I'm like, I'm not
Well,
even
there's always
buying
a
the.
dose of that too.
I'm like, I'm not even buying the book that I'm selling right now. So yeah, so I maybe look into that. That's different. I've heard that before, the name beta blocker, but I don't even
Hmm.
know what kind of medicine it is or anything. I was
Yeah.
thinking more of the sunglasses, the,
Oh, yeah.
the but that's definitely not it. Sunglasses don't help with stress. Maybe in Arizona they do. In Arizona they do. If you don't have them, your stress is horrible. Um, you can't see. Awesome.
Cool. I guess
Thank
one
you.
other thing
Yeah,
that's
go ahead.
helped me for mental health too is giving back. And
Mm,
like, I'm no angel, but I find doing a mentorship program or helping out in a way that really speaks to you and giving back to people around you, doing nice things for people,
mm.
it makes you feel good about yourself, and you, at the end of the day, you feel like you had an accomplishment. It's not something that costs a lot of money. You can just figure out what you're good at and how to connect with people who need what you're good at. And then I find that really helps too.
Heck yeah. That's kind of something that we're going to be doing. We're going to talk about a giveaway that I have coming up that we're going to, for people, we got some more giveaways coming too in the future because I just like to give back. But I'm also going to start growing my own in
Nice.
January, and that's going to get processed and given out too.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I'm just kind of in a good place in life. I don't need a lot of things, but I want to like help push the culture and the community. So, heck yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing all that. We'll go ahead and jump into our last segment, which is plug talk. It's electric, boogie woogie woogie. All right, so yeah, plug talk's all about promoting your stuff. Obviously, you have the books right there, the
Yeah.
butter and flour, and then the stoned. Man, I really want that stoned. It looks so nice. Looks like I can feel elegant while holding it. It's real fancy.
Perfect.
Like
You can be like the game show host. You can be my side person. My model.
I'll be the Vanna not so white. Like the dark one, the dark version. All right. So let's see here. So when does Stone come out? That book?
Yeah, so Stoned should be arriving in Toronto any day.
Ooh.
So if you DM me, I can make sure that one finds the bottom of your tree for the holidays. It's definitely it's a like it's a bit of a pricier book, but if it's really your passion or you really care about someone in the weed community, I think they'll really appreciate and love it. And then Butter and Flour, you can get on Amazon. You can get it pretty much any of your local bookstores should be able to order it. All the usual places. So
Heck yeah. And where else can they reach you at?
So my Instagram is Ann Infusion, ANN Infusion. My website's annallchin.com, but Instagram is really, I try to be really approachable and I'm on my phone way too much. So if you ever have any questions about baking, whether or not you've read the book or any questions about anything else, then feel free to DM and I'll try to get back to you and help out.
Awesome. That's amazing. Well, thank you very much. I want to go over a little bit of stuff that we have going on. Like I said, we're going to be giving back. We have a couple things from a recent guest, Revelry. They're out of Santa Cruz, but they're now here in Arizona. We have a couple of their traveler kits. This first one is actually for concentrates. We'll have pictures and a post coming up. This is like an electric thing. You have your concentrate container and stuff like that, and instructions on how to use it all in there. But it's water resistant, so you can take it in the shower. I don't know. Take it by the pool or something. Maybe don't go white or Ryan talking take two. Maybe don't take it white water rafting. I can word it. I word well. But this is a rolling kit. I really like the design.
Oh, nice.
Either that, I'm putting it in the wrong area. But you get a tray, grinder. I'm going to throw a lighter in here. But papers, silica packets, fallout, all that kind of stuff. And this episode is going to be posting on Tuesday this week. So we'll get that going. And then after that giveaway, we'll have another one with Epic Smoke and Vape. A little shopping spree. We'll get into that a little bit more, but Christmas coming. But again, and thank you very much. I'm really excited to. I'm gonna go this week and order butter and flour, and we'll go from there. And I want to make some of your recipes, and then also give that out to people locally here too.
Awesome.
Just pass the love on. But thank you very much. You want to shout out anybody or say anything else?
Ooh, I don't know. I probably have too many friends to shout out, but yeah, just follow me on Instagram and I try to shout out there all the time to anybody who's doing cool things.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And you have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Right,
Thanks so
tap in,
much,
smoke
Ryan.
up. Thank you. Tap in, smoke up.
With love and compassion, we'll find our way. From the battlefield to a brighter day.